Good evening and welcome to Free. I'm Noelle. I'm the community director here at Free, and this is Chris. If you don't know Chris, you need to know Chris. He's on our tech team. He's a great guy. Rev Ryan and their family, they're out in Florida this week visiting family. So we're without Reverend Ryan and the family, but we'll be okay.
We'll make it through somehow.
Well, welcome to Free. We are a community for addicts and loved ones of addicts and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. But there is one thing we don't do, Chris.
Yeah, there is, and I think we're going to hear about it real quick.
You're going to hear about it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you're going to find out. But on three, if y'all could say all four words so loud that Ryan in Florida can hear, that would be incredible.
All the way over there.
1, 2, 3.
We don't do shame.
We don't do shame. That's right. But we do have a couple other things.
Yeah,
here,
we do quite a few things around here, including all kinds of community events. But first, if you're new to Free, and this is your first time here, we would love to give you a welcome bag. And you can talk to one of our home team members, and they'll grab you a welcome bag. And they look kind of like this, what you're seeing here, and comes with some swag, stickers, whatnot, a Connect card, so you can fill it out. We can learn more about you, get to know you better, and a sample of fresh roasted wagon coffee from the cafe, which is fantastic and
really
tasty.
Good. Yep.
Yeah. And so also we've got another event coming up tomorrow, actually, and this is our brunch and stuff. And we're going to be bagging up sack lunches for the homeless. And it's all that will be provided. It's from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mm-hmm. It's being sponsored by our Aurora Silver Living, Chrysalis, Foundry, some great supporters. And we just ask that if you're going to do that, bring a breakfast item to share, like potluck style. Mm-hmm. And everyone's going to get down and stuff sack lunches. It's going to be an awesome
Absolutely.
thing.
Yep. We'll be in the cafe right next door. So come join us tomorrow from 11 to 1. Be a great time.
And then coming up, starting the Thursday, a week from Thanksgiving, we're going to be doing Advent. And it's going to be a weekly series for four weeks. And it's going to be on Thursdays between 6 and 7 in the meditation room. It's going to be led by Ryan and Carrie. Yep. And it's going to be super awesome. We're going to go through hope, peace, love, and joy 1 week at a time. And a great way to come and quietly celebrate Advent and just be together as community around that part of the holiday season.
Yeah, absolutely. November 30th, that kicks off. So 4 consecutive Thursdays leading up to Christmas. And this is the second year Carrie and Rev Ryan are leading this for us. And it was a really powerful and well thought of small group last year. So please come join us. If you're not familiar, the prayer meditation room is down this hallway here past the big kids room. And there's a sign on it that says prayer and meditation. But it's a really lovely, quiet space. So join us November 30th.
It's a nice little space. Tammy did a great job putting that together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoy it all the time.
I saw you in there earlier tonight, enjoying it.
I was meditating. You asked me to get up here, and I'm like, I need to meditate.
Well, I'm glad it helped out.
One last thing, though. This is something really new. We just got these,
tonight,
and it's right on the little table when you walk in. These are recovery cards, and it's from the Recovery Card Project. They're free. You can grab one. Yeah. And these are cards for people in recovery, either supporting them in their journey or maybe a milestone. And, because you can't really walk into Walmart and be like, where's the recovery card section?
Yeah, there's not a section of greeting cards for alcoholics, I don't think.
It's a fantastic,
really
absolutely
cool.
fantastic thing. There's a couple of cute ones. This one says, I swear never to call this a journey. Maybe a bumpy, curvy, hot mess, but not a journey. Just stuff like that.
My favorite is the ice cream one, and it says, let's do this together, and then the top of it says Rocky Road ice cream. So these are just really cute recovery greeting cards. If you want to give someone encouragement who's on this recovery journey, they're free, and please grab one and on your way out tonight. So, yeah.
What's with the grill?
Well, you're going to have to listen to the message tonight to find out what about the grill.
Okay. Yeah. What did Moses say to God when he thought the steaks were done?
I don't know.
Thy grill be done.
Thy grill be done. Well, thank you, Chris. That was more than I bargained for. Yeah, no kidding. Oh, my goodness. Well, if you're new here tonight, we usually don't start out with dad jokes, but we do start out with celebrations. So we want to lift up the good stuff with you. We want to celebrate. So whether that's a belly button birthday, a recovery anniversary, a wedding, or a new baby, raise your hands. Matt and Renee have the microphones, and we will celebrate with you. So we'll take a couple minutes.
Hello?
There you
Hello. As of yesterday, I am a great uncle. A little baby Genevieve joined us, so I'm really happy about
Genevieve,
that.
welcome
Yeah.
Genevieve. Love that name. That's awesome.
I'm Fredo, and got 90 days today.
Alfredo, that's awesome.
I'm Kai, and I have 8 months and 1 week free of fentanyl.
Awesome. Incredible, Kai.
I'm Ashley. I'm celebrating 55 days clean and sober from fentanyl.
Awesome.
I'm Jessie, and I'm celebrating 2.5 years clean and sober and a year out of prison.
Woo! We'll celebrate that for sure. That's incredible.
I'm Tyler, and I'm celebrating 37 days free of methamphetamine.
Woo! That's awesome. Congratulations, Tyler. I love that. That's awesome.
Hi, I'm Julia, and we are celebrating my son's 6 months recovery. He's not here tonight.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
One more. We're also celebrating other son's 146th day of sobriety.
My name's Stacy. I'm an alcoholic addict. I think I got over 90 days sober.
Awesome.
My name's Riley, and I'm flying to Montrose.
Riley's flying to Montrose? That's really exciting.
I'm Mark, and I'm 37 days clean from fentanyl and meth.
Right on. Congratulations, Mark. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's incredible.
Hi, my name is Madison, and I'm celebrating my cousin's birthday.
Awesome, Madison.
Kyle, I've got 1,523 days clean today, and got my son joining me for the first time.
Awesome.
All right.
That's incredible.
This is a little celebration, but my brother just checked into rehab yesterday, so I'm kind of celebrating that because he's decided to make that change again. So.
Absolutely. We got one last one right here.
Hey guys, I'm Sarah, and I'm celebrating moving into my very own apartment.
That's awesome, Sarah.
I'm Matt. I'm an alcoholic, and I just celebrated 13 years.
All right. Can I snag one of those?
Holidays and weekends too, pal.
Darrow, you join me up here, please. No, I don't do that. I'm not like Ryan Kennedy. You can stand on whatever side you want if you want. Well, you know how this goes. So you'll take the first one, and I'll take the second one.
Okay, we have Haley Marie celebrating a new job and a new home. Shout out to my Pathfinder friends that I know are there. Stay strong. Love you guys.
That's awesome. Thanks, Haley. Kay says, I celebrated 23 months clean from meth and fentanyl last Tuesday. That's incredible. Yeah. Dang, there was a lot of celebrations, and that red dot means we're done celebrating for now, but it was a lot of energy in here tonight, a lot of celebrations. All right, we are in our fourth and final week of this 4-week series that we've been in called On the Edge. So here's a video for y'all to check out. We bought a new truck a few weeks ago, and the hardest part about this transaction for me was getting rid of my old truck. This was the pickup truck that my dad had sold me 2 months before I got into recovery. That was the pickup truck that drove me to my first recovery meeting. And at 6 months sober, that was the pickup truck that I sat in trying to talk myself out of driving myself to the liquor store. And that was the pickup truck that drove me home instead. That was the truck that my dog and I, in early recovery, we would drive up to the mountains. And I would trade being hungover on Sunday mornings for hiking miles instead. I got sober in that truck, and I traded an old life for a new life behind the wheel of that truck. That dog that used to sit in the back of my cab, my pickup, he passed away last summer. And those tears that I used to shed in those recovery meetings, those tears have now been traded for the joy of recovery. Amen. Those recovery meetings, that's what gave me community. And so I was overjoyed when my best friend Kira let me know that she wanted to purchase this truck for her teenage boys. And so I'd still kind of see it around town. And so a few weeks after I sold her this truck, we were at the Candy Crawl here at Free. And she had asked me if my dad had ever smoked cigarettes. And I thought this was a really odd question. My dad owned that truck before me, but my dad is a has-been college athlete. And he's the most healthy person I know. He's probably the most straight-edge person I know as well. And I don't think that man's ever smoked a cigarette in his life. So I thought that was a really odd question. And then she turned to me and asked me if I'd ever smoked cigarettes. And, at first I was like, well, no, you know me. You've known me for years. And then a light bulb went off in my head. In the visor of the driver's seat of that pickup truck, there's a cigarette burn on that visor. You see, the day that I quit drinking, I purchased my first pack of cigarettes. And I began to smoke every single day. On my way to work, with my coffee, I looked forward to that morning cigarette. And leaving AA meetings, I began to crave that drag. And it got so bad that I was teaching cycle bar classes at this time, and I would leave teaching a class high on endorphins and sweaty, and within 30 seconds of sitting in that truck, I was lighting up a cigarette on my way home. But I wasn't drinking. And for the first 6 months of my sobriety, I smoked cigarettes every single day, and I would justify it to myself. You can't get a DUI from nicotine. And then one day my sponsor, asked me about my smoking. And I told her, I gave her all the reasons and all the justification. And she looked at me and said, oh, I get it. You just traded one addiction for another. And that hit me like a Mack truck. I haven't smoked again since. But that escape, it was for an instant. But the consequences, they stuck around with me long after the relief. That cigarette burn on that visor was a constant reminder in the early days of my recovery that I was just trading one escape for another. And therein lies, the beginning of addiction. See, we all live with some kind of pain. And now we have an abundance of options and drugs to medicate that pain, to live on the edge. For some of us, it's a beer bottle. For some of us, it's a tiny orange pill bottle. For some, it's TikTok or Netflix or shopping or pornography or social status or food or sex or working out or video games or relationships. We have an endless amount of options to numb and to medicate and to distract. Some of them are more socially acceptable in nature, and some of them are more taboo in nature. Some are more harmful in nature, and some are a bit more neutral in nature. You can be shopping, but medicating. You can be working and yet escaping. Status and success in 2023 can be addictions that you get praised and applauded for. We all medicate, to some degree or another. And I know even after a few years in recovery that 9 times out of 10, you give me an opportunity to escape whatever pain I'm in, I'm probably going to take it. There's a reason that it's so hard for us to cook with the TV on, Or it's hard for us to drive in a car or be working out without listening to a podcast. Chronic compulsive overconsumption, because we're just not cozy in our own reality without it. And so we use control and perfectionism and shame and resentment and fear and anxiety to medicate, to escape. You know, ambition, it can medicate the pain of insecurity. Food can medicate the pain of discomfort. Sex can medicate the pain of loneliness. And gossip and resentment can medicate the pain of an unforgiven offense. But this is just the human experience, you know, like taking ibuprofen for a headache or drinking a 6-pack of beer after a long day. Our drugs and our medication, they work until they wear off. They work until they wear off. And they work and then they wear off. You know, they give us a temporary relief from pain and shame, from scars, from secrets and memories and insecurities. And wanting to escape, it's not just for addicts or alcoholics. You know, I think everyone, we all deal with some level of pain to some degree or another, and we're all living on the edge. We all are just looking for some kind of relief. You know, we're in our 4th and final week of this series that we've been in called On the Edge, and the question that I'm asking tonight is not what is keeping you living on the edge. Let's just fix it. No, the question that I'm asking tonight is what is living on the edge hiding from you? Because I think God's much more interested in that answer. What is living on the edge hiding from you? Matthew chapter 26, Jesus, he's in the Garden of Gethsemane. And this is the night before his crucifixion. And he knows that his resurrection is just days away, but he also knows that there's going to be pain before the payoff. So Matthew chapter 26, verse 36 to 46. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane. And he said to them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." And he took Peter and 2 sons of Zebedee along with him. And he began to feel sorrowful and troubled. And so Jesus, you know, he doesn't exaggerate. You know, exaggeration it's a form of lying, you know, a small form of lying. And Jesus doesn't do that. So keep that in mind here. Then he said, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me." Going a little further, he fell with his face to the ground and he prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me." So Father and cup, 2 key words here. "Yet not as my will, but as you will." So quick pause. I just want to remind you of the humanity in this moment. Gethsemane, it means an olive press. So this is quite literally a place of pressure. And bear in mind that even the Son of God, you know, was tempted to escape this pressure. He was fully God, but he's also fully man. Verse 40. Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. And you can just feel the letdown here. Couldn't you men keep watch for me for an hour? Like, I'm just going through it, you know, like I'm about to be crucified. You couldn't stay awake for an hour for me, he asked Peter. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away for a second time and prayed, "My Father, if it is not possible for this cup to be taken away unless I drink it, may your will be done." Coming back, he again found them sleeping because their eyes were heavy. So he left them and went away once more and prayed the 3rd time, saying the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come and the Son of Man is delivered into the hands of sinners. Rise and let us go. Here comes my betrayal. So 3 different times in this scripture, Jesus is saying, Father, if there's any other way that we could go about saving humanity, that would be so convenient right now. And don't misunderstand this. Jesus, he's not afraid to die. When Jesus says, take this cup from me, that cup represents so much more than crucifixion. Dare I say, that was the easy part. That cup, it represents all of humanity's shame and their resentment and their pain and their regret, and it's all on his shoulders. You know what it feels like to have that shame and pain and regret just on your shoulders. That cup was the literal symbol of hell, just a world absent of God. And in this moment, Jesus, he's praying, I think, the bravest prayer a human being can pray. He says, not my will, but your will, Father. And Father comes from the Aramaic word Abba, and it's a deeply intimate way of saying dad. And so Jesus is here and he's saying, you're my dad. I trust you. Let's do this your way. And if I could just translate that for us tonight, he's saying, God, I choose what you want most more than what I want right now. And I wonder if there's anyone in here tonight brave enough to pray that same prayer. I want what you want most more than what I want right now. There's this Netflix series that's on Netflix right now, and it's called Painkillers. And it tells the story of the moments leading up to the opioid epidemic and how it could have been stopped. And there's this scene with Richard Stackler, who's the president of Purdue Pharma. And he's got this monologue in this meeting, and he's convincing his company to create the pill and the drug Oxycontin. And it's eerie, and it's cold, and it's brilliant. He describes the human condition like this. All of human behavior is comprised of 2 things: running away from pain and running towards pleasure. Away from pain and towards pleasure. Pain to pleasure. And if we can just position ourselves between the two, well, then we become the gateway. Away from pain and towards pleasure. That was a little over 2 decades ago. And thousands of people have lost their lives to overdose since then. And we honor them today, and we miss them every day. But I just think, how real is that? How much of what we do and what I do on a daily basis is me trying to run from pain and running away from discomfort, anything to not feel discomfort. What is it like living on the edge? It's running from our wounds, and numbing those symptoms with whatever drug of choice that is for us. And not really getting down to the causes and conditions and healing at a soul level. Because as long as we are numbing, we are not allowing God to heal. What I'm trying to say tonight is that there's one thing standing between us, standing between you and me from new levels of healing and freedom. And it's this some version of unprocessed pain, and that we opt out of at all costs. Hell, there's a moment Jesus wanted to opt out of it too, but he stayed in the fight, and somehow embraced the pain of today for the payoff of tomorrow. Maybe our obsession with running and our obsession with unhappiness, avoiding discomfort, living on the edge, maybe that obsession is what is making us unhappy to begin with. A few years ago, I was sitting in a meeting where I heard the most profound analogy about this inner work that we do. Whether that's the 12 steps for you, whether that's therapy, prayer, meditation, or some combination of the 4. the most profound analogy about this inner work that we do. A man named Gary, who's got about 150 years of sobriety, he started talking about Michelangelo. And while he's talking, he started saying that it took Michelangelo 17 years to find the block of marble that he carved out the statue of David from. And then it took Michelangelo an additional 2 years to actually carve that statue of David out. And so when Michelangelo was finally finished, he was asked, well, how did you know to carve the figure of David out? And Michelangelo just replied, I just chipped away at the pieces that weren't of David, and there he stood. And that's what we do here with this inner work. You know, those 12 steps, therapy, prayer, meditation, they're just chipping away at the pieces that aren't of us, that aren't of God, and there we stand. You know, this is a game of subtraction and not addition, not going outside of ourselves to find something to fill this hole within us. On our journey to recovery and healing and emotional sobriety, I just want you to know that you have everything that you need within you right now. It's just about chipping away at the pieces that aren't serving you, the pieces that aren't of you, that aren't of me, that aren't of God, and there you stand. When I was cleaning out that old truck and getting ready to give it over to Kira, I found one of these things in the back cab of that truck. And honestly, it's probably a couple years old. And this is a small little nicotine vape pen. And the next day I went to the gas station and I bought pods for this thing. And I justified it to myself, like I didn't go and buy it, it found me. But those are the kind of behaviors that living on the edge kind of pops up. And I began to be really ashamed about this thing. Like Mickey knew I had it, but I was like hiding it so he didn't see it, and I didn't feel good about that. And if I left it home on the way to work, I was so agitated about it. But a lot of times it's a lot less about the thing and more about what the thing represents. You know, this thing, it represents, for me, shame, secrets, depending on vices that I don't need. And for someone in recovery, someone like me, that opens up a whole other realm of problems. See, living on the edge, it creeps in really quickly. You know, my favorite verse in all of Scripture, it's Matthew chapter 11, verse 28 through 30. And it reads, are you worn out? Are you tired? Are you burnt out on religion? Get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Let me show you the unforced rhythms of grace. The unforced rhythms of grace. What is the opposite of living on edge? It's living in the unforced rhythms of grace. So you walked in here tonight with some heaviness on you that's been with you, and this pain that you're running from and trying to medicate, and God's saying, that's where I want to go. But we just have some chipping away to do. And if you're sitting here tonight thinking that this is bringing out, something heavy in you, no, God's just simply shedding a light in something that is already within you. So I'm going to play a song for us tonight, and it's a little angsty. It's got some teeth to it. It's an oldie, but it's a goodie. And it's about no longer living on the edge. So if there's something that you're chipping away at, I encourage you to fill out a note card here and write what you're chipping away at. Maybe it's a behavior, or maybe it's a person or a place or a thing, something that you need to discard so you can be more of you and more of who God wants you to be. And I wonder if while we do that we can pray the bravest prayer together. See, if recovery has taught me one thing, it is that the only thing worse than my problem is my solution to my problem. So while this song plays, I hope we can pray, your will, not my will, be done.
For those of you who are new with us tonight, you should know that each week we invite a guest storyteller up to the stage to have a little conversation. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Carrie, and I am the community ambassador. And this is probably the most fearful thing that I do, is be on stage. This is not where I shine, nor do I like this. So I am on the edge right this very second. This is what it looks like. Amy did have a quick announcement. Somebody has keys that they left in the cafe that are a 30-day NA chip. So if someone's missing their keys, they are in the cafe. But anyway, back to the guest storyteller. So Courtney is our guest storyteller this week. She is a loved one of an alcoholic who Buddy gave his story back in July. What I love about Courtney is she is one of the biggest advocates of loved ones. She really is changing her work profession around this, and she is one of the most kind and compassionate allies to those, and she's a dear friend of mine. So if you would please help me welcome Courtney O'Connor up to the stage. Hi, Courtney. Thanks for joining me up here today. I know when we met last week, you were very intentional that you wanted to keep this story about you, that you didn't really want to go into all of the reasons of why Buddy got you here and all the things that he did wrong. You really wanted to own your side, and you were very mindful about that. Can you tell us a little bit of why that was so important to you?
Yeah, I think I know that I have a part to play in Buddy's story, but I think that it's really important for me to also understand that I have my own story in this as well. Trying to think of the best way to kind of explain it through an imagery. And the best way I could think of was thinking of a whirlpool. And Buddy's been stuck in this whirlpool and in this cycle for years and maybe decades. And in my trying to help him, I've been sucked into this whirlpool as well. And I am getting dizzy, and I am trying to get to him while trying to save myself as well. And so I think it's really important to acknowledge that loved ones have a story too, rather than telling his story through my eyes.
Thank you for that. And you also said, as once you realized that Buddy did have a problem with alcohol, you really dove deep into the academic understanding of it and kind of the science behind it and like what it is to be an alcoholic and kind of just the logical sense of it all. And then you also came to a realization that that wasn't going to bring you the peace that you were looking for. So can you talk a little bit about that and then tell us when you realized that you needed something more?
Yeah, so I'm not unique in that I realized that Buddy had a problem and I knew how to spell it, and I went to Google and I tried to figure out what I could from Google about it, and I came across all of these different statistics of and scary statistics of the disease and of the percentage of relapse, and it was really overwhelming and it was really terrifying. And from there, I put together a plan, and I decided that if I could just take away all of his stress and I could keep all of the balls in the air and I could establish the right boundaries and I just could be perfect, then we got it. Like, we're fine, and Buddy will come back and everything will be okay. That doesn't happen that way. It's not that logical of a disease. But I think the big piece in this that I recognized is that I was the one that said that I need to do things perfect. I was the one that said I had to keep all of the balls in the air. I was the one that did all of this to myself. He didn't do that to me. So similar to I didn't make him an addict, he didn't make me feel that way. And I had to own that piece of it as well.
You had mentioned that through the help of a therapist, you had found this book that profoundly changed your perception, and it was called Addictive Thinking, Understanding Self-Deception. Can you tell us a little bit of what that book helped you realize?
Yeah, so after all of my Googling, I came across a wonderful counselor who's been amazing to me, and she helped me find some of the best books to really understand as much as we can about the disease, and one of them was around addictive thinking. And as I'm reading this relatively short book, I'm thinking, yeah, this is Buddy, like this is how he's acting, and this is what he's doing, and this totally makes sense. And the last chapter of the book says that addictive thinking exists in all addicted people, and to a greater or lesser extent, their loved ones. And it makes you think, oh, crap, he's not the only one that's doing this. And it makes you realize that no wonder I'm struggling, because I can't recognize myself anymore either. I have changed. And it was a good realization to understand that I am stuck in this whirlpool. I didn't even realize it. This is why that I'm making the decisions that I'm making, and I don't feel good about them, or why I'm acting the way towards Buddy that I am, and I don't feel good about that either.
And so, what would you say that living on the edge was keeping from you?
I think that when you're living on the edge, you're living moment for moment, and you're not able to take a step back and really realize what's happening and really bring your authentic self to the table. And so I think what it's keeping from you is you being able to be who you are, be authentically you, and show up the way that you want.
And can you tell us a little bit about your daily journey today and what that looks like and how you remember to stay in God's will, not Courtney's will, on a daily basis?
Yeah, so this week, I guess it was actually November 12th of last year, is our 1-year anniversary of coming to Free. And the first time we came here, Pastor Ryan was in a series called Gratitude and Recovery. And when we got here, the first thing he said was that he invited all of us to close our eyes. And he was speaking to addicts and loved ones of addicts and spiritual refugees. And he was talking about, think about a time where you were there physically, but you weren't really there because you were stuck in your addiction or because you were stuck in your addiction to your loved one. And so I think that from my daily practice, and obviously I remember that because it was a year ago and I have a very short memory, so that means something. I think about making sure that I'm present in what is happening now and appreciative and being grateful for the life that we have and not getting stuck in the stuck in the past and living in the past, but being grateful for where we are today.
And congratulations on coming to Free for a year. We obviously love you dearly here. Can you tell us a little bit about what Free means to both Buddy, your daughter Kennedy, and yourself, and why you guys keep coming back?
Yeah, so we're here every week that we're not sick, and we have a 3-year-old, which means we do miss times because we're sick. But we're here as much as we can because what Free has really given us is a common language. For the first time in a long time, Buddy and I were able to talk about the same thing and our different perspectives on a really honest level. We've been speaking English to each other, for years, but we just couldn't understand each other because we were coming from so many different perspectives and there was so many feelings and so much hurt. And so Free has really given us that common language that we're able to talk to each other, we're able to open up to each other, and we're able to talk, I think, on a different level.
And then to the person who's out there still struggling, perhaps to surrender to God's will, what words of wisdom can you leave us with tonight to kind of help someone find some of that peace that you were able to find?
Yeah, I think that it's important to recognize that we're fighting a disease that isn't logical. And it's important to understand everything that we can, and also remember that we don't know everything, especially yet or especially right now, and we need to surrender to God what we can't understand yet.
So the basic serenity prayer, absolutely amazing. And you will be staying around after if anybody wants to get to know Courtney and Buddy and their beautiful daughter, although I think she's already home. Please stick around. Courtney is a wonderful person to become friends with. So thank you again for joining me on the couch. Can you all please give it up for Courtney?
That was awesome. Thanks, sister. The last service, Kennedy was here, little 3-year-old daughter, and she ran to someone, sitting in the audience here from Buddy's lap, and she's like, "That's my mom." And she was so proud to see her mom on this stage. And I don't know, we are just as proud of you as Kennedy is. And we just love that you're a part of this community. So thank you for tonight. Well, we go out with service similar to how we start service, but with heartaches. So we want to walk this heartache with you, whether you are mourning a loved one or going through a hard time with the holidays coming up. Let us walk through this struggle with you and pray for you. So Matt and Renee they have microphones and they'll be walking around. Go ahead and raise your hand. We'll do it just like how we did with celebrations and take a couple minutes with our online community as well and talk about some heartaches. Take 3 minutes.
I want to pray for my mom, who's 84 years old and just got out of the hospital, but she still has the congestive heart failure and still some liquid on her lungs, and so we've just been kind of watching that. So just pray for Betty.
Yeah, prayers for Betty. Thank you for sharing, Mark.
I just want to, when I was on the streets, Thanksgiving is one of the hardest holidays to go through. So for all the people on the streets that don't have anybody to love them this week, just keep them in your prayers.
Yeah, thank you for that, Darren. Absolutely. Holidays are a tough time. Stay close to community.
Hey, so my mom just had some plastic surgery on her face as she had discovered melanoma, and we're hoping that it's all gone and that scar heals really well, hopefully invisibly. She's got some other things going on with her eye on that side as well that's really concerning, and we're just hoping for some really good answers and really a total healing so that she can go back to being the vivacious woman she's always been, because she's feeling really scared right now.
Yeah. Prayers for your mom. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
Can you hear me? Okay. I want to pray for my boyfriend. He just went back to prison on Thursday, and we don't know what's going to happen. So just hoping everything goes good.
Yeah, prayers for him. Thank you for sharing.
Hi, my name's Steven, and this may take a second, but I had a sponsor for the last couple of years, and he's been sober for over 14 years, and last week he got picked up on a charge from 1982, and he committed suicide about 3 days ago, and so it's been really hard to just kind of deal with it. So I just wanted to share with the group that life happens and things come up from our past sometimes, and we need God more than anything, and just love your family and your friends right now. That's all I have.
Man, thank you for sharing. Praying for you, your sponsor.
Hi, I just need some prayers. I moved to Colorado a year ago, hoping I would find a healthy work environment, which I didn't. Experienced workplace abuse, and due to that, I'm on disability right now. But I'm feeling very far from God, and keep dreaming. I've been sober since 1996, and that's just I'm holding on to that. But I can't find the right treatment right now. The workplace abuse has triggered my PTSD. So I just need a lot of prayer. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. We're praying for you. Matt Naraki, would you like to join me up here tonight?
Absolutely.
Man, we've got some heavy hearts in this community. Lots of prayer needed. Do you want to take the first one?
Absolutely. Here we go. Roger says, prayers for all struggling with sobriety and recovery. As that lady said tonight, with the boyfriend in prison. If you're an addict or alcoholic, we've been in prison and we know what that's like. And so prayers to our entire community.
James says, I want to pray for my dear friend Eddie. He's dealing with some heart issues, recovering from a stroke. Let's hold him up. Love you, brother.
Mel Van Valkenburg says, I want to send prayers out to my Pathfinders family this holiday season. I love you, and I'm so proud of all y'all for allowing a power greater than ourselves to take over and heal our wounds. Amen. That's right.
Awesome.
Prayers.
Well, that red dot means that our online community, we're done here. So thank you for joining me up here, Matt. I sure appreciate it. Well, last week we had an incredible Saturday here at Free. If you joined us, we had our pie night. So us leaders at Free and staff, we served you guys pie in appreciation for all of the incredible donations and the work that went into our capital campaign, our Home at Last campaign. And we were able to raise just under $1 million, and we'll be purchasing this building here in a couple weeks. So it's pretty incredible. Yeah. Yeah. So the capital campaign is over, but we still, as always, are accepting donations and just furthering our mission of breaking the silence of addiction here at Free. And there are 3 ways to donate here at Free. And the first is to text this number that's on your screen. And the second is to go to www.freespiritualcommunity.com, and there's a drop-down Donate Now box. And then the last is to download our free app and donate there. Well, I think we'll go out with a prayer this evening, and I can't think of a better prayer for your will, not my will, to be done than the serenity prayer. So if you're comfortable, open your hands as a sign of being willing to receive. And if you're not familiar with this prayer, it's on your screen tonight, and I hope that you join me. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. You all have a happy Thanksgiving, and we will see you next Saturday. Rev Ryan will be back. Thank you all so much.